My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
First of all, she's going to prison for stalking, and she's stalking where she lives, 218 C Street. And she's engaged in customary stalking, audible activity, light activity, relevant positioning, following me down the street from where her facilitating venue remains, where the entity's keeping the fake son, as I took a picture of. And the fake son's going to be in a different location where the airport is stalking with her. This is what the entity's doing, communicating a threat like at 226 North Vine Avenue, where in this same neighborhood, the fake son is over me after 10 a.m. She's going to prison. The federal court case against her is going to show as she's acting as a third party with the state, threatening my life and safety while you're acting with the state, conspiring my murder via gang stalking, including where you live. 9 Paul Zebra Frank 062 is a demon. And my evidence shows the fake son remaining at the chiropractic office, J. Sandoval chiropractic office, in the parking lot, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's currently right now. Oopsie. It's currently right now. Oh, remember, she's making a threat regarding criminal summoning while she is gang stalking me with the entity that is relying on criminal summoning with regard to kidnapping. It's 7:17 a.m. She's gang stalking an engineer light at nightfall at her address, the facilitating venue. That's not a private property. She's gang stalking with the airport. This is direct evidence to prosecute her. The entity is keeping the fake son as I'm walking from Stater Brothers to what is the Ontario Town Square where the fake son's moving. And the entity is doing so while the city of Ontario is threatening me in concert with that third party. She's going to prison. She's also threatening me while she is verbalizing a documented audible threat to commit criminal summoning with the gang members of the Ontario Police, which is a threat to my life, my safety, my well-being, with the intent to obstruct justice. And she is a stalker following me down the street, deviating from where she's living, just chilling in her car. She's not. She's going to prison. She's a psychopath. And she's a vagina monitor that resides at 218 C Street, P.O.C. And she's engaged in that. And the government that she's engaged in criminal summoning with, threatening, is putting her in prison because they're gang stalking together. She's mentally ill. That's psychopathic pacing. She's going to prison. This is mental illness that's not unique to her. You need to understand. You see this light activity? Possible light? The demon possessed are mental. I'm showing you what they are as it comes out, as I discern their demons and I prosecute them for their conduct. Their mental illness is no longer closeted. Hers is very obvious. So is everyone else's. That's the reality of what I'm showing you. I just want to be clear. This is C Street right here. Jay Montez is gang stalking me right here at B Street, where the entity is stalking me by helicopter, doing so on video at 9:39 a.m. She's going to prison. This is P.O.C. All right. The entity's engaged in this pattern of conduct, and this is conspicuous stalking. They're going to prison for this. Getting into a position where she is engaging what is conspicuous stalking and threatening conduct because she's being documented as a gang stalker. She's going to prison. She's stalking with impossible light, engaging in psychopathic pacing, doing so with the government. She's going to be committed while in federal prison. This is P.O.C. Again, the facilitating video is 218 C Street in Ontario, California. She's on video stalking me and doing so with the Ontario Police, who are sharing in that audible activity. She's speaking as the state while she's stalking with. That's the significance of the entity stalking me at 226 North Vine Avenue with the people. Oh, you're going to physically harm me? That's the state? You're going to summon the police, the gang members themselves that are stalking me while the entity is stalking by commercial plane. Under what is the fake sun? And you can look at the Google Maps at all the facilitating venues where the entity is keeping this fake sun stalking me by the police and the airport throughout this city from sunrise until sunset. She's going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:20 a.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun over the 537 North Euclid Avenue bus stop at 7:20 a.m., shining in perfect alignment with me, which is north of where I'm located right now, where, again, she is stalking. Okay, you see the fake sun shines windshield right here? That means it's not in any angle rising over Bethel congregation, where it would also be reflecting off of this rear window shield. That's impossible. This is the entity video that I will attach for you. This is the P.O.C. This is mental illness, and this is mental illness that's shared by the population of demons, and it's also a threat to your safety. She's going to prison. She's going to federal prison. And this is my shadow that's appearing in front of me. This is impossible light activity. She's going to federal prison. P.O.C. Let's go ahead and get this. That's the government stalk. How all of the criminal stalking by the state is going to be used against the co-defendants, the people of the state. They have provided a body of evidence to prosecute the civilian population that are sharing in criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder. P.O.C. This is at the 229-235 chiropractic group. All right, this is a landmark heavily documented throughout the years. This is P.O.C. All right, this is stalking on the roads and the highways. This is Title 18 Federal Stalking, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2, in concert with the one that's going to prison, 7NXA748. And what your understanding is that they represent an entity. This one, the entity, communicated a documented threat regarding criminal summoning while it is stalking, and it is demon possessed, and it is still following down the street, by the way, and they're doing so under the fake sun. All right, this is engineer light, meaning it's impossible light activity. It's impossible not only because I'm standing here yesterday at 11, and the fake sun is right here over me at this street sign, which is suggesting that what the time now, which is 7:25 a.m., 8, 9, 10, 4 hours later, the sun is merely going to advance across to this side of the street to be at the street sign. And that is proven with regard to what is a supernatural. It's also to the exclusion of any other, literally, location in the city, any other state, which is also supernatural. And that's also while you're experiencing a sun in wherever state you are. Let's just say, oh, I don't know, Florida. Okay, while I'm showing you, and in federal court, you will be federally prosecuted as a domestic terrorist that is engaging in what is the U.S. government's cult regarding criminal surveillance of the demon-possessed who are gang stalking, who verbalize threats with the cult members who commit kidnappings and murders. And in Ontario, California, it's the Ontario Police Department who the terrorists rely on, and they threaten you by referring to them in their audible activity while they're monitoring you. And this is engineer light because the fake sun is over me at this same location yesterday at 11 a.m. and it's only 7:26 a.m. right now. That's prosecuting every business. That's engaging in surveillance. That's why a fake sun remains over me. And that third party is stalking. Okay, by virtue of recognizing that environment, which is going to be played in courts to prosecute a population. And everything that comes out of the mouth of that population is intentionally serving for what is, first of all, criminal surveillance. And you're also analyzing the stalker, the government that utilizes the vicarious actor who are engaging in surveillance where they live, where they work, and as they travel, and have no protection under the law while they do so on behalf of the state. That is not a private citizen, that has no private property, and is also not exercising any private speech rights while they're engaging in what is the criminal pattern of conduct by the public entity that is engaging in surveillance proven by what is a fake sun that is documented yesterday right here over me at 11 a.m. and is not over the OVITT Family Community Library, which the evidence also shows. And this is impossible light activity not only because of that, but because my shadow is appearing in front of me underneath a covered structure while I'm standing in the shade. Let's back up. I am in the shade and there is my shadow. She's going to prison. That's a demon who has lost control. The demons that are discerned, and they are being discerned while I'm prosecuting them for criminal activity proven through tangible evidence. But this is something that the demon possessed, a condition that is invisible, infuriates Satan, who is a spirit, and therefore engages in criminal activity that I am also prosecuting them for, criminal obstruction of justice. She's engaging in this as an entity, and the government is stalking me by commercial planes while I'm showing you this environment, and they're engaging in surveillance of my evidence at the same time. This is multiple shadows. Here's another one over here, and this one is over here. This is where CEASELESS and all the gang members of the Ontario Police engaged in criminal summoning, like what this demon threatened to do, call the gang members that commit murder and kidnapping. They engaged in criminal summoning right here at 303 North Euclid Avenue, and it was engineer light, blue and red engineer light, and this is engineer light during the day under a fake sun. She's mentally ill, she's unstable, and she's going to prison. P.O.C. She's at 218 C Street, and she is following down the street while she's being documented, which the feds are going to prosecute the state, which is what she represents, a third party who has lost control, and that's a threat by the government. She's going to federal prison. She's going to federal prison for what I documented right now. She's going to federal prison for criminal summoning, which is already on the video, on the record. And the sun is not going to be over the same person, let alone the same corner. And that is proven through what is video evidence that will be played in court, and you are witnessing a real-time prosecution of the U.S. government. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:28 a.m. And in that engineered environment, oh, you're not exercising any freedom of speech rights. You don't have any warrant or probable cause. This is stalking on the roads and the highways. And I've documented thousands, and I will be prosecuting the people of the state. This is surveillance that they presuppose you would never be able to prove because they are engaging in what is overt, conspicuous stalking that the demon-possessed assume no one will be able to prove. They're stalking in this manner, in other words, in order to defame you because you're supposed to be a paranoid schizophrenic, accusing strangers, ostensibly strangers. They're not strangers. You know that I've broken the P.O.C. down. This is the malice of the demon-possessed. This is how the Nephilim are attacking people, and they're going to be federally prosecuted. It's terrorism in the U.S. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:29 a.m. at 303 North Euclid Avenue. Alrighty, this is just a reminder that Securitas, he's going to prison because Ontario Police, these are desperate suicidal acts that you would never put on the internet with regard to being in court. He's going to prison, all right? September 28, 2025, he committed criminal summoning, like what the demon at 218 C Street threatened to do with the gang members who are stalking me. You threatened to summon them to commit kidnapping, to obstruct justice, while you're engaging in the conspiracy to murder somebody. He's going to prison and the ding in engineered light. He's standing in engineered light underneath a covered structure. You see that light right there? He's monitoring while the demons flew over by helicopter. He's a psychopath. Their mental illness is no longer closeted when you see the malicious conduct that they're engaging in and that they assume you do not know about. He's going to federal prison and he's been engaged in criminal monitoring for years. I have him gang stalking at the town square in 2018. And the Ontario Police, the state's criminal conduct, is going to prosecute both Securitas and this third party. He is responsible for the battery that the Ontario Police committed. Valencia, Vivanco, and the other gang member, you can hear me screaming while they are harming me, physically attacking me upon what is a malicious assertion. And they did it at the Ontario Town Square. He's going to prison. And that's what you're going to, while the demons, the gang members themselves, the murderers who have no regard for their own lives, and all they do is incriminate everybody else, which is why you do not team up with Satan, who does not care about you, because you're watching the implosion, the self-destructive conduct of demons. And they're all being prosecuted. The fake sun, of course, is here at 8:14 a.m., whereas yesterday, I'm nowhere near here. In fact, I don't come and I'm not at that corner until 11 o'clock in the morning. What are the Ontario Police Department doing? They're putting the proverbial gun to their own temple and doing everyone a favor, taking themselves out. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is just to show you the images that I'm capturing. Gang stalking via Wells Fargo, 240 North Euclid Avenue. Gang stalking by this demon with a dome-covered tattoo. He's got a tattoo all over his scalp. He's gang stalking me with a minor child. And the Ontario Police are hostile demons, again, fleeing the scene as I begin recording video. This is what they did at the Ontario Town Square when they're stalking me at 11 o'clock at night. Very much triggered, while psychopaths who are also stalking me like Jay Montez try to appear stoic. That's why your facial expression is going to be relevant to your mental illness and not innocence. You're already clearly convicted. They're all stalking. And every license plate that I'm documenting is sharing in that pattern of conduct. And while you're looking at them again, crossing path, that's the entity by helicopter that's engaged in psychopathic pacing. They're not going anywhere. They are stalking. They are gang stalking. They're repeatedly engaging in what is crossing a path. With the population who was one entity, they literally share the same demon possession, while a population is stalking me, multiple bodies, and they're all engaging in surveillance together. This is terrorism, as it is literally proven with what is tangible evidence, okay? Demon that is, again, at Metro 102 Apartments with the minor child. He's standing right here in front of me with the fake sun shining and having a field day engaging in terrorism with the Ontario Police Department, as psychopaths do. They're gang stalking, engaging, conspiring, murdering somebody right now by walking their dogs. And they know exactly who I am, and they're listening to me, and they are professional vagina monitors. The homosexual females that are demon-possessed gang stalking with the U.S. government. All right, P.O.C. The entities engaged in this, and Securitas is going to federal prison, okay? That's the security guard. The entities maintaining this fake sun over me while I am in entirely different locations, such as the gang members at the Ontario Village Shopping Center, at the Coin Laundry, where the entity's keeping the fake sun hovering over that Coin Laundry building. I'm capturing it at 9:06 a.m., reminding you about gang stalking me at the bus stop at 537 North Euclid Avenue. They're all stalking, and this is pacing. Same demon possession. Satan's using two bodies together in front of me, and they're actually pacing back and forth. It's the same thing in traffic. It's surveillance. You're going to prosecute the government as you're approving what is a supernatural environment where they're using things like planes and helicopters to maintain criminal surveillance while they are stalking in the most psychotic, deranged methods that the demon-possessed psychopaths could fathom, could think of, could conjure up. And it's going to be the federal RICO case. All right? Mike LORENZ is being prosecuted. He's going to be federally prosecuted. He is being prosecuted. This is the courtroom. And he's going to federal prison for what is the pattern of conduct by the demon-possessed who have no self-control. That's very in federal court. There's no warrant of probable cause. It's criminal. All right, and they're engaging in that with regard to what is public corruption. And this is an entity that is in denial or engaging in what is a refusal to respect what are the laws that they have been proven to be in violation of. That's why they're being disbanded. With regard to also what is the ongoing assault with a deadly weapon. The gang member that's targeting with the Ontario Police, that's pulling a knife on me, that's trying to pull me over with their, drive over me with their vehicle while they are stalking with light, just like the gang members, the gang leaders of the Ontario Police Department. That's why they're being disbanded. The gang stalking minors, engaging what is gang violence, threatening audible activity while they're monitoring with the gang members of the Ontario Police Department. That's why they're being disbanded. The ongoing population of violent sex offenders, keeping my vagina under surveillance. That's why they're being disbanded. And you are indeed in need of a warrant and probable cause and under the Constitution, a legitimate interest, and it doesn't exist with regard to the inhumane surveillance system that the city of Ontario is engaging in. And they are doing so via helicopters, and they're going to be permanently landed. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaged in that P.O.C. and they're doing so while they're keeping the evidence under surveillance. And guess who's going to prison? There's a whole laundry list of demons that are going to prison. Jay Montez is going to federal prison. That was gang stalking at B Street over here. Valencia Vivanco, they're going to federal prison. Gang stalking. A. Casada, they're going to federal prison. You have Alex Escobar, he's going to federal prison. Nathan Morgan, C. Torres, the ones that committed kidnapping on May 29th, they're going to federal prison. Craig Hazelwood and Owens, they're going to federal prison, kidnapping multiple times with regard to what is this criminal conduct. And the Ontario police are stalking while the Ontario International Airport is stalking over the Ontario Town Square, where there are no takeoffs from the airport. There's also no takeoffs over the Stater Brothers shopping plaza, where the entity was stalking, keeping a fake sun. Right? While they're flying through the fake sun. Remember what I captured on video? They're flying through it. While I am at what is 628 West Holt Boulevard. That's not even close. Everybody is stalking. And everybody's being prosecuted while the government is stalking. And the government is stalking you in concert with the population because the government is engaged in what is systematic murder and kidnapping via defamation, abusing the positions that they have been trusted with. That's why they're also losing it. And this is a pattern of conduct that includes the government, that the governor of the state, any state, is fully apprised of and is engaging in, facilitating it as a terrorist leader, funding terrorism. You'll be prosecuted. You are not above the law. This is the entity that's engaged in what is receiving public notices, warnings, and not taking heed to them, and you will be prosecuted. As the entity that is targeting, the entity is being prosecuted. This is P.O.C. That's psychopathic pacing. Mike LORENZ is going to prison. L&D WAPNER, you're going to federally prosecute the terrorists of the Ontario International Board and the executive team. You're going to prosecute the people of the state. You're going to prosecute with regard to policies to remove them from the comfort with which they're engaging in targeting an American citizen, the welfare that they're receiving, the funds that they're receiving from the government, the housing programs that they're a part of. This is going to change when they are prosecuted, and this is how you're going to reach a whole population at one time. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 8:37 a.m. under the fake sun at 224 North Euclid Avenue. The same fake sun that's shining through the doors of the OVITT Family Community Library, where multiple people are being prosecuted at one time. The state, in fact, is being prosecuted at one time. There is no sun that would be so low that it's creating what is engineered, stretching through the doorway of the venue, where the people of the state are inside of a building, stalking, pacing, just like the airport and the police department are. Pacing all around, stalking me. As demons who are stalking via light because they're monitoring in furtherance of murder, monitoring with regard to being severely mentally ill because they are demon possessed. Not only that, the fake sun would not be in a position to cause what is the sun to still be here 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 8 hours later, where Alexander and Mary Bly, and you have Kelly Blacken, you have Yesenia, you have all of the demons that work at this venue that are all pacing all around while that fake sun is shining on me and shining through the doors while they're gang stalking as a city, which is prosecuting and exposing the governor of whatever state that you're in. And those that are in positions of leadership, the mayor of whatever city that you're in, the police department, the county sheriff of whatever city and county that you're in. It's a pattern of conduct shared by the government and that population. The governor knows exactly what's happening, and the government is being prosecuted. This is P.O.C. It's 8:38 a.m. All right, this is the video documentation regarding a thorough record of violent sex offenders engaging in surveillance around a bathroom, stalking a woman, doing so openly. This is public corruption regarding vagina monitoring outside of the bathroom, the women's restroom. This is the blackmail engaging in relevant positioning. Let me see, what time is it? P.O.C. They're going to prison. All right, this is I want you to see how low this plane is hovering. And that is UPS. And I want to document this because where I remain at the OVITT Family Community Library, this is what the Ontario International Airport is continuously doing while the people of the state are engaging in ongoing continuous stalking. This is psychopathic pacing. A demon is driving toward me, but this is stalking with light while they're using Wells Fargo, who's going to be prosecuted. They're using Sarah's Regis, Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, stalking with light, going into the venues, engaging in surveillance, pacing around like psychopaths who do so the same exact thing under the fake sun. And this line right here is not in alignment with any airport. UPS is stalking just like every other airline. So are the people of the state. They're engaging in surveillance. They're going to prison. They're going to be committed. They're being deported. They're losing custody of their children. They're going to be prosecuted as terrorists. The airport is stalking and is facilitating that ongoing criminal conspiracy to commit murder. I'm just capturing this short video because this is what I'm going to continue to notate. So this is relevant to what I'm going to continue to note on my phone when they're doing the exact same thing. This is what the entity is doing, and it is ongoing harassment. The entity is engaging what is, I want you to see, the entity is veering off toward the north, flying in alignment after flying over. This is you see UPS is hovering over a senior citizen complex, okay? And then veering over what is north. The entity is engaging in what is the same hovering conduct while I'm at the Stater Brothers, flying over my head, flying over the entrance of the Stater Brothers, flying over the back portion while they're stalking throughout. So are the people. This is surveillance. Wells Fargo is engaged in surveillance. The City of Ontario is engaged in surveillance. Sarah's Regis is engaged in surveillance. OVITT Family Community Library is being prosecuted while I'm at the venue. The entity is maintaining the elements of monitoring. That's what all of this is, and you will prosecute. It's 24-hour surveillance, whether they're open or closed. And that's the entity that is gang stalking with the government on the roads and the highways. No warrant, no probable cause for the public corruption. That is surveillance on the roads and the highways, and these are the demon-possessed vagina monitors engaging in surveillance 24 hours a day, just like I showed you inside of this venue. This is P.O.C. I'm going to continue notating ongoing harassment and terrorism and furtherance of murder, which is relevant to prosecuting the U.S. government. They're stalking right here at OVITT Family Community Library. This is P.O.C. It's 5:21 p.m. This is impunity. This is the impunity that's going to be brought up in federal court when I'm prosecuting the population and all the video evidence is going to be used against them. It's impunity by the whole entity. It's impunity by every employee that's going to be prosecuted inside of the venue. It's used against the entity that's targeting me, and the entity's engagement is going to be used with regard to prosecuting them for impunity. Never mind if you weren't physically standing here. Your impunity is documented as a matter of record, and you will be prosecuted for it. P.O.C. We have here. The moment that UPS is being published online, look who we have here flying over my head, just like they were at the Ontario Town Square, and who is nearby. Not those who are ignorant of who you are, not those who are not engaged in anything other than stalking. What's in her back left pocket, right pocket, that's a psychopath, a vagina monitor, a closeted homosexual, demons together who are pacing, two bodies in the engineered environment is pacing. And they're crossing path in concert with the entity that's flying over me at the OVITT Family Community Library by helicopter, doing so at what is 5:33 p.m. while they're monitoring on the venue of the internet. This is relevant to the kidnapping that Mike Lorenz, as a pattern of conduct, this department, and Craig Hazelwood and Owens, who you hear committing a kidnapping on my podcast and who you see committing a kidnapping on May 4th, 2026 at 537 North Euclid Avenue, doing so while they're maintaining surveillance on the venue of the internet, doing so with the criminal intent to retaliate. They're going to federal prison. And the entity's engaging in this while the UPS is gang stalking by hovering right here, stalking, and so is the police department. Flying over again, this is psychopathic pacing. This is, again, a suicidal agency that is a threat to the public. They're exposed for criminal activity, and you're looking at them engage in what is an outright public display of what is the ongoing threat to the United States, the American citizens that they are. The people of the state are pacing along with them. Sarah's Regis Group is sharing in terrorism right now. Wells Fargo is sharing in terrorism right now. The population is sharing in that, and this is psychopathic pacing at the same location where the fake Sun and the Ontario Police Department are on record, stalking me at this venue from sunrise until sunset. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct, and this is the entity that engaged in criminal summoning as CASAS is gang stalking, engaging in stalking by wearing a police uniform in concert with the people who are stalking with light. That's what you're looking at, and they're engaged in all manner of pacing. The entity is stalking me by helicopter with regard to that well-documented pattern. They like to stalk in helicopters when they're conspiring to murder somebody that has the audacity to try to document or report it. That's why Mike Lorenz is going to prison. That is terrorism. That's a murderer. That's engaging what are utilizing and abusing the resources of a police department, which the Paul Leon, who was a terrorist, is funding. This is relevant to the governor of the state of California, funding terrorism. This will be the basis of prosecuting homegrown terrorists and putting them in federal prison, such as Mike Lorenz and those that have engaged in kidnapping and those that are stalking in helicopters. This is a documented act of criminal violence by everybody that's in these vehicles. I have gone through the effort of documenting license plates, but I want to be clear, you're going to conduct investigations, you're going to get the identities of those who are going to federal prison when they engage in these iterations of terrorism, threatening an American citizen that they plan to murder. Because they plan to do it not on video. They plan to do it when it's not published on podcasts. They plan to do it when they derive pleasure from molesting you with impossible light and stalking and lurking in the dark with the police department that they think protects them while they engage in what is threatening you, pulling knives on you, trying to run you over with their car while they're obsessively stalking you. That's what's represented there. That's what's flying over my head by helicopter for the second time today. Not the second time. Remember, it was more than once at this Ontario Town Square, by the way. It was more than once. And they're doing so while they are documented on video. And what do you see them do? They engage in more and more and more of it. This stalking with helicopter activity is relevant to what is psychopathic. Mike LORENZ is a professional vagina monitor. He's a chief of vagina monitors. He's not a police chief. He is a terrorist leader. And this is proven beyond a reasonable doubt. This is a psychopath that's engaged in what is systematic murder via the corrupt enterprise, which is calling itself a police department in Ontario. It's going to be disbanded, and these murderers are being removed from law enforcement. They are the reason for the violence that I've proven the people of the state of the California, in the city of Ontario, are engaging in. And it's the basis of federal prison. That's why they're flying over my head at the OVITT Family Community Library. UPS is being federally prosecuted because while I document them gang stalking me, the gang stalkers that bear guns and use helicopters terrorizing and threatening me, then are engaging in what is attacking me again with the people of the state. That's why UPS, the people of the state, is being federally prosecuted. It's a federal RICO case. It's conspiracy to commit murder, criminal obstruction of justice, while they are stalking me in commercial planes, keeping my evidence under surveillance, and around we go with regard to that prosecution. This is P.O.C. The entity is going to report. This is how the policy works. The entity is going to report who is stalking the identity. You know who it is. It's the agency. But the entity is going to report the particular terrorist because that person is going to prison. It's the same with those gang stalking in planes. And Alan D. WAPNER, the board, the executive team, they're being prosecuted. And the Ontario Police Department and the Ontario Fire Department, they are being removed. The Ontario Police are being disbanded. And I've documented, such as Jay Montez, he's going to federal prison. This is the criminal conduct he was engaging in. At 9:38 in the morning, he was stalking. This is P.O.C. It is currently 5:37 p.m. This is Title 18 federal stalking with the intent to obstruct justice. Stalking and terrorizing and harassing me while I'm publishing the evidence on the internet where there is no warrant or probable cause or legitimate interest to engage in what is surveilling on the internet when you are engaged in what is also criminal surveillance in relevant position. This is psychopathic pacing, and this is the entity that has put itself on the map with regard to what is domestic terrorism proven in the U.S. And these are the mentally ill. That's the Nephilim. They are maniacal psychopaths, and this is what you need to know as aware. Now that you need to be aware of, now that you're aware of it, this is how it's going to be prosecuted, because it is mental illness that is shared by a population who are not normal. They're not just walking by. That's how the system of stalking and threatening you is underway. They're going to be committed. They're going to be prosecuted. They're going to be deported out of this country, any and every which way that you are neutralizing this national threat, while the Nephilim are engaging in this very attack. And this is what they are doing as psychopaths under a fake sun, where they are worshiping someone that they are stalking until they can murder that person. P.O.C. All right, the entities engaging with a federal RICO case, all the businesses, all the facilitating venues where the people of the state live, they're being simultaneously prosecuted while the government is acting with them. P.O.C. All right, stopping beside me while the Ontario International Airport is stalking. This is a Latino male, and this is an unlawful threat to your life. And this is the demon chasing me down, stalking. Arizona plate CLA4XN. Stops right here next to me. This is 317, 315, and the entity is stalking, flying right here in the sky space, and doing so while I'm coming from State Brothers. And this is after I document and identify the people of the state that are vagina monitoring. All right, stalking. This is P.O.C. These are the co-conspirators of murder. This is a demon who knows who I am and who is stalking. This is why Mike LORENZ is being federally prosecuted. All right, this is P.O.C. This is what Jay Montez was doing, stalking. P.O.C. This is the entity that's called pacing with the government that's stalking in planes while you are chasing a woman down, stalking her in the middle of the street. That's P.O.C. This is a demon that's a mentally ill psychopath as well. And he's not stalking by himself. He's stalking with everybody else. Everybody else. P.O.C. It is currently, this is the entity that's being prosecuted. These are the demons that stalk with light. These are the demons that are stalking under the fake sun, and that's what he's doing, not trying to find a parking space, not coincidentally doing it while the airport is stalking at 311, 313, 317, 315 B Street. This is where the entity pulled a knife. Is this parking lot right here? This is where the entity pulled a knife. This is where the entity engaged in assault and battery with a deadly weapon. This is the same entity. P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, this is the entity I just documented and published on X and published on the Google Drive. The identity of the people of the state. They are literally being prosecuted for ceaseless stalking with the government, and they're doing so with regard to an ongoing level of what is a heightening threat, okay? And this is an emergency that I've been subject to for years. This is why governors are going to be removed from position. This is why mayors are being removed from position and are subject to federal prosecutions. Funding terrorism, facilitating terrorism, engaging in terrorism, while they are, remember, the entity's not ignorantly engaging in it. The entity's been exposed. The governor's watching this being exposed on the internet. The governor's office, the population, the mayors, they're sitting back gang stalking. This is why the Ontario police are stalking me with helicopters and they're targeting me with planes at the same time I publish online. This is a government system and they're watching themselves be exposed and they engage in more of it. They're going to be federally prosecuted for what is not an anonymous and too far detached with regard to the inability to criminally find liable an official in office. That is not the case. It's terrorism, first of all, and it's an unprecedented basis to prosecute those who are in position and utilizing terrorism to oppress American citizens. They are responsible for it. They are funding it. They're engaging in it. And this is how they are targeting American citizens in the U.S. And you will be subject to prosecution for terrorism in the United States of America, period. The terrorist leaders are the ones that are holding office. They're holding office. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 8:55 p.m. The entity is going to be prosecuted. Those in office are going to be removed from office, and you are subject to being federally prosecuted while an American citizen is being gang stalked, terrorized, targeted by a population, which is how officials, governments remove American citizens that they deem to be a problem. By gang stalking. All right, this is P.O.C. This is the prosecution. This is on the P.O.C. The totality of it has been exposing Gavin Newsom. This is not something that he's ignorant about, actually, nor reasonably. This is the pattern of conduct. It is currently, there's no coincidence with regard to Gavin Newsom giving a judgeship to Shannon Faherty after she committed kidnapping in 2020. And she wasn't even a judge. There wasn't even a real district attorney. There was no criminal act committed by myself. This is while the same Ontario Police Department that you see stalking me today engaged in stalking and kidnapping on that day. And she's presented with a reward being placed as a judge while Newsom is engaging in what is rewarding those that are targeting me. This is the entity that's engaging in what is the pattern of conduct. And the entity is doing so. And this is evidence that is going to serve to prosecute and remove from office the corrupt officials. It is a matter of public corruption. This case that's establishing that public corruption will simultaneously serve to remove the system that is operated through those that are engaging in it. The mayors, those that are sitting in the office of the governor itself. These are terrorists in the United States, the so-called civilized society. It's filled with a bunch of domestic terrorists, and this is literally the framework to remove them, have them uprooted, and that's exactly what's going to happen. That it is what's happening. You're looking at the process of it while the entity is stalking me as a whole airport. Gavin Newsom knows very well while the entity spends millions of dollars of stalking one person, that's speaking to a government system that the governor is aware of. But again, not reporting where all the money is going, money that he's not addressing that's being spent on things such as criminal surveillance to target American citizens. When he's talking about he's trying to find jobs and create jobs and speak of the economy and protect the immigrants that are gang stalking pursuant to a system that he is engaging in. And he is watching it be exposed. And he is engaged in what is the ongoing threat to my life. That's the pattern of conduct. While my shadow's moving across the wall, it's not headlights. Right? That's a state actor. 8 UDK 268 is targeting on behalf of the state. Governors and mayors, county sheriffs and police departments, police chiefs are engaging in that pattern of conduct through them. 9 PAL 806. And this is what Gavin Newsom is engaging in throughout the state of California. Everybody that he places in position. Okay, the leader over the California Highway Patrol, a gang stalker. California Highway Patrol gang stalking. He's in Los Angeles while they're failing with regard to handling the fires. But they have an ongoing elite system of gang stalking. Well, you've seen how elite. I'm being facetious. I'm showing you how elite they are. They're vagina monitors. They're highly unorganized. Okay, they're engaging in what is nothing other than lawlessness and criminal conduct. And they can't even intelligently answer questions. They resort to light slinging, which is incriminating conduct, showing a supernatural pattern of conduct. This is the entity that's engaging in that, and the public officials are directly exposed while the city is sharing a public engagement and a pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while millions of dollars is spent. The entity is stalking by plane at the same time that you are stalking with Impossible Light driving by me. They are demons that are in office, and this is what Gavin Newsom is. The demon-possessed are holding these positions of government. The demon-possessed are exposing American citizens. They're exposing the U.S., to what is and making this country vulnerable to outsiders attacking us who are already keeping us under surveillance, by the way. While the entities engaging in what are surveilling, violating American citizens' privacies, privacy, excuse me. This is what the United States is engaging in with those that are outside of this country, betraying this country while also monitoring its own citizens. Just in case, this is the formula for the implosion of a country. Just want to be clear, this is the prosecution of the U.S. government, and it is the ongoing framework for removing corrupt officials like the governor, like the mayors that are engaging in this criminal system that's fully exposed. This is P.O.C. And this is, again, 8:59 p.m. You're looking at the impossible light activity while you are driving this way and your headlights are headed toward what will be in front of you. That's not going to cause my shadow to travel in that direction. That's the entity that's engaging in stalking with light. Those are demons. Like I stated, he's not coincidentally stopping while the entity is stalking also, while they're doing so with engineered light. That's the significance of parking next to me while you are stalking in the path. Light activity, relevant positioning, audible activity, stalking with the airport. Millions of dollars spent on stalking me. It's built into the economy where they are engaging in criminal surveillance. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9 p.m. This is P.O.C. You see what I'm uploading? And this is what the Ontario police are stalking me for right now. And I'm capturing this in images flying back and forth over me as I publish the videos onto X. They're keeping me under surveillance, and this is also harassment and threatening me while I publish the evidence. Every time I publish a link to the Google Drive identifying the defendants who are the people of the state, and this is exactly who I'm identifying. They're being federally prosecuted for threatening me with the police who commit murder and kidnapping. So this is the people threatening to kill and threatening to kidnap while I am publishing their identity and the entity stalked with helicopter. They're doing that while they are physically monitoring. Okay, they're engaging in surveillance on the internet. They're engaging in surveillance while they're pacing all around me while the entity is stalking with helicopter. And they're doing it while they are monitoring this as it is being published onto the internet. All right. These videos right here for the 12th. This is what the entity is doing with simultaneity to what I'm publishing. And the Ontario airport is doing the exact same thing. This is P.O.C. This is federal stalking. This is informing why Jay Montez is going to federal prison, why Craig Hazelwood, why Owens are going to federal prison, while the department is being federally prosecuted for surveillance, having no warrant, no probable cause, no investigation. I never committed a crime. The entity is engaging in stalking as a police department, targeting me in furtherance of repeatedly kidnapping in order to defame, while the entity's been engaged in an ongoing defamation campaign with regard to trying to steal my money. This is the entity that is engaging in that while they are stalking in real time. This is psychopathic pacing. Now what you're witnessing as I begin documenting them, they engage in psychopathic pacing, flying in circles more and more and more as they are captured in real time, which they also know because they are indeed stalking me. P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in this morning while I'm at the library. That's where they're engaging in pacing over me over there. Now I'm at the Ontario Town Square. This is where they're pacing. It's also identifying targeting while I am in use of my device publishing the identities of the people of the state. All right, every license plate, the people of the state are going to be federally prosecuted. While they're monitoring in the same way, this is serving policy. I document a license plate that's crossing path, the entity molested me, and the entity stalking by helicopter, they're going to prison. It will be a strict liability basis. The entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct as a city. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct with the airport. The entity is doing so while they commit kidnappings together as well, utilizing criminal summoning. And the entity is doing that with all of that which is known. What you're doing on your devices, what you're doing on the internet, what you are doing physically while they are stalking and monitoring you. And they are the people who I am documenting and publishing it onto X with regard to what's available on the Google Drive, where you can look at the identities, the license plates, the means of identifying terrorists who are going to be federally prosecuted. They're also going to be prosecuted for the stalking conduct that they share in with the agency that's engaged in terrorism. Mike LORENZ and the Ontario Police Department are going to be disbanded. This is P.O.C. And I want to be clear, Mike LORENZ has, and the agency has clearly shown they have no regard for remaining as a police department. They don't have any regard for that. They don't have any regard for not appearing as though they are not a threat, that they're not trying to threaten me, that they're not trying to stalk me, that they're not trying to harass me for enforcing my rights, knowing that I have not committed a crime. They are under all circumstances showing exactly what they are. And that is exactly what is informing. It's to shared with the people that say understand. They're communicating that as well. This is psychopathic pacing on the roads. They are all hostile while I'm publishing their identities on the internet. They are going to be federally prosecuted. Everybody whose license plate that I'm documenting, let me open this back.